Viewers, big news coming in. This is an international update, a global update at this point of time. Massive anti-hijab revolution in Iran. Women in Iran fight back moral policing, and the Iranian women are chopping their hair. They're removing their hijab in protest. A big international development on Republic TV, where we are seeing massive anti-hijab revolution coming in from Iran, where women in Iran are now standing up for their rights. They're fighting back moral policing and also chopping their hair, removing the hijab in protest. Protests have broken out in Iran after the death of Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old woman, in which Iranian women are publicly removing their hijabs and burning them. Visuals of that you see on your screen, where women, you can see clearly, removing the hijab and waving it in the air. Waving it in the air, viewers. These are scenes coming in from Iran, unprecedented scenes coming in from Iran. Big international update. Now Mahsa Amini, the 22-year-old, was arrested by Iran's so-called morality police for improperly, well, that's what they're calling it, donning the hijab because she had not completely covered her hair. According to some reports, she had died after falling into a coma following her arrest in Tehran earlier this week. And that has put a spotlight on women's rights in Iran. Big international update, viewers. News coming in from Iran, where there's a massive anti-hijab protest in Iran. You can clearly see how women are standing up for their rights, standing up for the rights of women in the country and removing their hijab, waving it in the air, and they're also chopping their hair, viewers. They're chopping their hair, they're waving the hijab in the air, they're also burning them. Big news coming in, viewers. These videos are also on social media, where protests can be seen, demonstrators shouting anti-government slogans, and those have also gone viral on social media. In fact, those visuals on the screen, viewers, big breaking news coming in. Protests breaking out in Iran after the death of a 22-year-old woman called Mahsa Amini. Iranian women publicly, I repeat, publicly removing their hijabs and burning them. Visuals of that you can see clearly there on your screen. Also, this is a symbolic act of opposition to the severe Iranian rule requiring women over the age of 7 to wear religious headscarves. Some female protesters chopped off their hair and burned their hijab. All right, Samiksha is joining me from the Mumbai newsroom to take us through this latest development. Samiksha, these are unprecedented scenes we are getting right now. Massive anti-hijab protests in Iran, where women are removing their hijab and even burning them and waving them in the air. Samiksha, take us through the details.
Well, absolutely, Shivangi. So it's a massive anti-hijab revolution. We are seeing the visuals on our screens as well of how these Iranian women are chopping their hair. They've removed hijab as a mark of protest. So yes, it is an unrest that prevails in Iran as we speak. What we are given to understand is that Iran police also fired tear gas shells to disperse a protest that was mainly held in the Kurdish city of Sanadans, where hundreds rallied to decry the death of that young woman. So yes, the death of the young woman has really sparked a massive outrage, with women who've now gathered in large numbers to protest. And really, this is an anti-hijab protest that is unraveling in Iran. Women in Iran are seen fighting back the moral policing by the government. They are seen chopping off their hair, removing hijab as a mark of protest. Now remember the case of the 22-year-old Mahsa Amini, who was detained last Tuesday after Iran's so-called morality police found fault with her headscarf, had set off a public outcry in the country, mainly on social media. In fact, the police said that she died of a heart attack and have denied any allegations of torture and abuse.
I will be coming back to you. I'm being joined by Brinda Adige on the phone line. Thank you for joining us. We are seeing these women there in Iran standing up for their rights. And this is definitely, Brinda, I would also, and you would agree with me as well, maybe, is that this is unprecedented scenes we are seeing in Iran, where women are standing up for their rights, for what they actually deserve.
Absolutely right. And I think it is high time, because women in Iran have been traumatized, have been subjugated and oppressed for so many years now. And it is great that all of these women are coming out to say that they do not want to wear the hijab. Why is Iran not allowing that decision to be with the women? It is very, very sad that that woman died because of the torture by these men who consider themselves as keepers of morality, by the keepers of so-called culture that is repressive, regressive and subjugating women in Iran. Absolutely unacceptable. They should let it be the choice and the decision of the woman whether she wants to wear it or not want to wear it. But they have no right to punish this woman. How many of the men are punished for rape? Never. How many of the men are punished for domestic violence? Never. They are not punished. So why is it that they assume that they can punish women for a piece of clothing? Unacceptable. I hope the Iran government wakes up to this fact that women today in their country want to make the decisions and want to have that right to choose whether they want to wear something or not want to wear it.
Also, Brinda, just one short question. Of course, they are standing up for their rights. Do you think that this show of protest by these women would amount to something? Because it's very clear that women in Iran are tired from the age of 7. I repeat, from the age of 7, they have to cover their hair or they cannot even go to school.
You're absolutely right. There are even places where tourists have to cover their hair, and this is unacceptable. I think the government must wake up that if their women are making these choices and decisions, it is but the duty of that government to ensure that women who do not want to wear the hijab, women who do not want to cover their hair, must be given that right. Otherwise, what is the point of Iran talking so much about equality, women's rights, and having women represent in their parliament also? It is all a farce if they do not give this choice to that woman. And having a child of 7 covering her hair just goes to show that they are so regressive irrespective of their economic development.
All right, thank you, Brinda Adige, activist, for joining us here. We're tracking this big story, Republic TV. It's an international story where we are seeing unprecedented scenes, viewers, where you can clearly see on your screen how women in Iran are removing their hijab. Iranian women are fighting back. They want their rights. They want their rights back because in that country, under Iran's Sharia law, women are obliged to cover their hair and wear loose-fitting clothes, long, loose-fitting clothes. Offenders who don't do that, they face public rebuke, fines or arrest. So right now the women there are fighting back, and this is coming in after a 22-year-old woman called Mahsa Amini, after her death. Now, according to reports, she had died after falling into a coma following her arrest in Tehran earlier this week.